All right. Hey, yo, it's your boy Sam Duke.
It's your man, Tel McHale.
It's your boy Warren P.
And you will listen to another great episode of You
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 good,
Good?
good,
bro?
bruh?
Welcome all, welcome one, welcome men, welcome women. To a happy new year. I think this is the first episode that we're doing in the actual 2023.
Right.
And what better way to start the year than to wrap up the year on some of the one of the most controversial topics I think we talked about last year. Um,
Yeah.
Today we're talking Tory and Meg, and as my boy Warren P likes to say sometimes when he's ready to roll,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
about to get in my motherfucking bag today, y'all. I'm just
Yes, sir.
letting y'all know. But before I get in my bag, I want Warren P. You know, I know he was a part of the last episode to speak his piece. You know, he I wouldn't say he was pro Tory because that wasn't the case. I think that he made
Yeah.
some pro Tory points maybe and some potentially some points about perspective that other men may
Yeah. I
potentially
feel like,
have.
like it was global. I feel like
Yeah,
Warren's
yeah,
position
yeah.
was global about
And so
us throwing black men under the bus.
yeah, and so I would like for him to kind of just start speak his piece, and then we can, you know, me, Mikhail, and we can all kind of get into our space about how we feel about how this trial turned out and what society looks like after.
Yeah. Appreciate that. I'm glad to be back, man. It's been a minute. But first and foremost,
Yeah.
man, my number one thing, and I want this to be clear, was I didn't know who to believe between Tory and Meg from the start of the case. There was a black man that said he was innocent. There was a black woman that stated that she was harmed by this black man. Uh I remember my wife telling me, she's like, when I listen to the podcast, it seems like you're pro Tory. I was like, I don't know that nigga. So
Oh.
who am I to say if he did or didn't do it? My number one thing was I feel in most cases, and if you listen back to the podcast, I do think it's a 75-25 to whereas let's say if a woman says a man did something, 75% of the time that woman is correct and it may be higher, but I'm just giving that for simple numbers. And 25% of the time that man may have been lied on. And you know, from what I saw, and we'll cover this a little bit later, is one thing I didn't like about the case is I saw the bigger divide, and I felt like when I was saying, can we just wait and hear what's going on? It was automatically, well, you hate women or you don't believe women. When my words were, I don't know either of these individuals. So I don't believe him or her, but I did have an issue with the fact that it was, you know, she said it. So that has to be written in stone when there are a lot of cases to whereas, you know, a woman may have said something out of either anger, frustration, or whatever to quote unquote make the person look bad, and that wasn't the case. I'm not saying that that happens majority of the time, but I'd be a fool to say that it doesn't happen at all. And with the severity of the case of him being accused of shooting her, and I will say this, motherfucker was so cocky to whereas in my mind I'm like, this nigga has to be a lunatic if he did this and is playing it the way he's playing it right now. So for me, it was like, yo, you got, and we talked about it about everybody being drunk and inebriated in the case. It could have been, you know, in my mind, yo, he may not have shot her, but if my back is turned, I got shot. I turn around, he got the gun in his hand. Hey, that nigga shot me. I'm drunk. My decision
Mhm.
making ain't good. So I could easily understand that. But the way he carried himself was like, yo, it's a misunderstanding. It's this and that. Like I never, you know, intentionally harm a black woman. Like he was profound with it to where it's like, okay, you got somebody passionate on this side, you got somebody passionate on that side. So I'm not finna say up
Right.
there and be like, nah, you did this, Tory Lanez. You did this just because she said it. So we got justice. Motherfucker going to jail. as I said on the podcast the first time, hey, if the nigga did it, lock his ass up. And it's been proven that he did it. He put her in a position to whereas he harmed her. So he gonna be locked up. I mean, going back to Mikhail and Sam both stating the recklessness with the guns, which was one of the charges that he got locked up for. If you go back to what I said when we were having our spirited debate, I'm like, based on what y'all said, hey, bro, got to do some time for that. Even if he didn't shoot her, he has to do time because somebody was injured with his property. He was reckless with a gun because the shit, and we talked about it earlier. It could have been worse. I'm blessed that it just was her feet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry the sister had to go through, that pain. And I'm sure we'll dive into everything else further in the episode. But me looking at it from this way, I'm glad it was just her feet because the shit could have been a lot worse based on what I was hearing from the testimonies and stuff like that. You got 3 or 4 people around drunk and a gun. Man, we've seen so many cases where that shit could have been a lot worse.
It's been, it has been.
So I'm blessed. I'm happy that sister still gets to be able to farm, make money, get her bread. She's gotten some type of justice, not the justice she deserves. But that's foreshadowing because I'm gonna let some of you niggas know out there how I really feel about you with this case and with everything that's going on and why it makes me look like a fucking criminal or a man hater because of how y'all acted after the actual court case concluded. But I'll let Sam get in his bag first. But yeah, I do have a little rant for a lot of men because by the way they act, it makes me seem like, oh no, he just ain't believing women at all.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, Warren. And I kind of alluded to this in the first episode.
Yeah.
That it became a man-woman thing, like a man versus woman, what men feel as far as like how they get blamed initially when things happen. But when I remember saying, like, what are we defending? You get what I'm saying? And the reality is, I've noticed that for some reason, and this is not, I'm not going to say a totality of men because clearly, I feel a certain way. Mikhail felt a certain way. Even you, to a degree, was like, let's not jump on him. But if he's guilty, let him go to jail. But the issue I was having, the biggest issue I was having was, what were we defending? Even from the beginning, when it was still kind of, the water was still kind of murky. We didn't know what was going on. This nigga dropped an album. You know what I'm saying? This man dropped an album, and I didn't listen to it, so I'm not going to say what was in it, what wasn't in it. I'm going clearly based on what he put on Twitter. I just could not believe that after something like that happened, that his idea, his thoughts, or even his counsel would tell him, hey man, you know what? You need to go drop a tape, nigga. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, the level of immaturity and the level of cockiness that he showed during the whole, and the level of insensitivity that he showed throughout the whole ordeal made him guilty in my eyes. That's just me. When I think about how men move after they harm or potentially or even mistakenly was to harm a woman, I was just like, if I was to put together an archetype for a man that harms a woman and is pretending like he didn't, he would be it. And that's just my take. That's just the beginning. That's really just the tip of the iceberg from the standpoint of just like looking at what was going on.
Yeah.
Then you go into the there's the stories, there's the blogs, there's what's happening. There's the he's offering money, he's doing this, he's doing that. It wasn't until the case started that I realized how deep this man was out here trying to manipulate the masses. When you see the testimony, because the thing about people, and this is my thing, and I always say this, what I realize is people don't read. People like to watch videos. They like to listen to me and you talk and do those type of things. But people do not read. when you read testimony, when you hear about depositions, people under oath, what they have to say, and the consequences associated with that, you clearly understand that there's a game being played here. And from my perspective, it's like the fact that we as men could not see that game and peep that shit was alarming to me. That's just me. I don't know about y'all, but from my perspective, the fact that they could not peep that this man was playing a game with everyone, especially when you say, oh, you saw his cockiness. He was moving. He's on stage. We talked about that shit, right? And showing up in places where she was, knowing that he shouldn't be around her. That's the real signs of an abuser, y'all. Somebody that does something to somebody and still doesn't have the empathy enough to say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be around her. Maybe I should keep my distance. Maybe I should, think about what she's going through. You get what I'm saying? Because regardless of what you guys feel about who did what, there was a bullet in her foot. There is a bullet fragment still in her foot. And so the idea that you could come party around, hang out, be in her space after she was potentially victimized in your space, it just shows me that you are okay with the abuse that occurred. That's just me. That's just the beginning. Mikhail, go ahead, give me some of your perspective, bro.
So what I was thinking is, like, Tory showed me who he was before the case. That's my point. When we talk about behavior, when people show you who you are, you need to believe them. He didn't do anything outside the scope of what I had seen of him before. The recklessness, the bad decision making, indulging in substances that takes him out of his mind, just living like he has there's no consequence. And he developed a following of like-minded people. And once somebody finds a home, they defend it. And that's why when things got really serious, he maintained the same energy, even though the jail showed otherwise. He maintained the same energy, and so did his followers. Because to me, it's pretty simple. Like, if you get shot, and I point at the person, I said, this person shot me. This person shot me. I don't really know what else to talk about. This ain't like if it's not. This is not like, oh, false rape charges. There's a bullet in my foot, and it came out of his gun. So it's like, I don't even know what the back and forth was about. So to me, this case was just like his lives. It was full of wildness, recklessness, acting immature. And post the trial, I see where he got it from. When his dad came out and started blaming Rock Nation. Like, what the fuck? Rock Nation made your son shoot Meg in the foot? Like, really?
He saw so much corruption in the case, right?
Yeah.
And then it's funny because the ain't shitness that is pervasive through generations, clearly.
Right.
That you see, because the ain't shit father can't wait till the cameras come on, of course, because know, as soon as the cameras come on him, you can see that he was prepared for this moment, right?
Oh yeah.
So, he was prepared for this moment, but he was never prepared to raise Tory, according to the sources. He sent Tory to Canada because Tory was just too much for him, or whatever case may be, and then pop back into Tory's life post Tory becoming who he is, and so it's just interesting to me that now he's coming to defend him when he should have raised him. You get what I'm saying? When he should have showed him what it was to be a man. And I'm not, look, you can come Come wherever you want to come, Warren. But I'm gonna be real.
I just have a problem with
hold on.
for a man that has a rocky background with his father. Like I do
Bruh.
have an issue with that. You're right, but I do have an
No,
issue with you having an issue
no,
with that man defending his son
no.
like that.
I don't
That
have an
that I
issue with
think is
him
out of
defending
line.
his son.
let
I
me-
don't. No. I don't have an issue with him defending his son. I have an issue with the lack of accountability that he has for his son. I have an issue with the fact that
I'm with you there.
no, hold on. I have an issue that he came after Jay-Z and Beyonce, who I don't even understand. I get the connection from a company standpoint, but Jay-Z and Beyonce presented no evidence. Jay-Z and Beyonce, were not in the courtroom. They may have played some influence into how Meg was defended and maybe put some money in her pocket. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that Jay-Z and Beyonce did not pay a prosecutor. The prosecution is a government entity. People forget that when these kind of high-profile cases come up and about.
Right.
The only person that was paying private people is Daystar Tory Lanez. And that's the reality of the situation. And unfortunately, he came out there and it's funny. The funny part about it is you even heard little kids in their family cussing on live TV. They effing with my brother. They fucking with my brother's legacy. I'm like, oh, they not raising her neither. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there's a level of discipline that you're supposed to have in your household. You got a little girl out here cursing in front of cameras. Clearly, to me, there was no accountability taken on his on the father's side. That's just all I'm saying. The idea that he's defending his son, he can proclaim his son's innocence as much as he wants. But it's the blame on people that have nothing to do with the situation. People that were not drunk that night, people that did not drive a car, people that did not have a gun, people that, you get what I'm saying? Like his son was on probation. His son was on probation.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't need him defending anything. I don't need him defending anything. This is not, did my son do this or did my son do that? He stated on the phone call, it's accountability to me as a father would be being able to accept that your child has done some shit that you did not raise him to do. And your child has to pay for it. And be apologetic to the victims, like to come out, and that's accountability. For him to sit up there and after a guilty verdict of not anything other than what he actually did, which was have a loaded illegal weapon, a loaded weapon in a vehicle in California where you can't even have over 10 bullets in your gun. Like,
bro, you can't even defend yourself for real. If you go,
you can't even defend yourself for real.
You're going to jail regardless.
You're going to jail regardless. So for him that he was found guilty on those charges and then come out and have this moment in the spotlight for himself, to me is indicative of the same problems that Tory has that may be genetically linked mental health wise, because how narcissistic is that?
I don't even think they understood the charges. Like, I don't think most people understood the charges, to be honest.
And I'll say this from somebody that I don't have a legal background, but I've worked law enforcement and I'm pretty damn smart and I read a lot. I will say, I guess, I mean, if that's a premise, I will say anybody who reads knew Tory was going to be guilty on something. Anybody who reads. You know what I'm saying? If you read the charges, he was going to be guilty on something.
He should have just played out.
Exactly. And what's shocking to me is the afterwards, the leak, you spoke on the leak tape afterwards, right? The reality is his dad heard that in real time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He sat in court and listened to that. And I don't care what y'all say. Y'all, I know what the defense tried to play, but it's funny to me that all these, and I'm going to call them weak men. I'm going to just say it. I'm going to say weak-minded men that were on me, because I was been calling y'all pussies from day one. And this is a lack of emotional intelligence from my part because I love Meg and Pete. But I would say I've been calling y'all pussy men because y'all are riding this man who clearly has a mountain of evidence stacked up against him. And I asked y'all from the beginning, what are y'all like? If you're going to defend men that have been wrongly accused of things, defend men that don't have a mountain of evidence up against them. Defend men that have DNA evidence that's shown that they weren't even there, that have alibis that weren't checked.
Defend men that act not guilty.
Yeah, or that. But
I have to interject there.
Go ahead,
because
bro.
you know I have to interject there. Now I'm not interjecting on the part where you're saying defend men that have this. I'm just defending on people when you said like men who don't act guilty. I've said from the jump, Nick, you can check my tweets. I've said consistently, yo, if this man is guilty, the way he's been acting, that man is a fucking monster. You can check my tweet consistent because I'm like, yo, but that's my point. Be moving like this if you are a guilty party.
Yes,
but
you can.
I've seen, but I've
let me tell you the number one. You know what the number one rule is in homicide cases. The number one thing that they do is they look at the crowd. Mm-hmm. They look at the crowd because the guilty parties return to the scene. And they can't explain the phenomenon, the psychological phenomenon, in a way that will make sense to anybody that's not guilty. But once you've committed a crime, and there's people standing around, more often than not, the people that are part of the crime that has been committed return to the scene. So they are scanning the crowd. Mm-hmm. He returned to the scene of the crime. He went to the concert. He went to events. He was doing.
Oh, you mean
returning to the being around her?
Yeah.
And so that he was behaving guilty to me, because people that are guilty feel like they have shit to lose. It's a wrap. I'm about to be locked up anyway, so I'm about to get out here and do my thing. I'm about to be out here.
Not. I've never been in a situation to the severity of this, but I have had people lie on me, and I've been around those people, and just like my attitude was, we know the fucking truth, so I ain't finna act this way or act this way, and I'm cocky with my shit to where it's like, nah, I know that shit ain't go down like that, so fuck out of here. If they feel a certain way,
don't know.
whatever.
If you lie on me, I ain't fucking with you.
I'm not saying I'm not fucking, but I've been in the same spaces where motherfuckers have lied on me, and it's like, nigga, and my attitude was like, nigga, you know what went down, so don't.
If I know the person
nigga,
lying on me, I'm not going. Yeah, I'm not going places where people are lying on me. If I know they're there, I'm good. I can do something else with my time. I don't need that energy.
And you know,
like I just don't, unless I'm getting money, like real money, like my family.
We spoke to that, Mikhail. We spoke to the fact that it's like, yo, you knew she was gonna be at this concert, bro, and you woke up, put your clothes on, got in the car, drove out there, popped up on stage with one of her homies. Like, dog, come on.
But that goes back to what I just said when we had the original argument, where it's like, yo, to me, that's not somebody moving like they now. Me have different experiences with that. To me, that wasn't like somebody that's moving like they guilty. That's somebody like, yo, this motherfucker lied on me, and I'm not finna start getting my bag because of somebody lying on me.
Yeah,
now we can disagree. We can disagree on what guilty and what not guilty looks like. But to me, I was taking it as like, yo, once again, if I say, if that man was acting like that and was guilty, this nigga's a monster.
How many people beat on their wives and act like everything's okay? How many people smack the fuck out their wives one night and wake up the next day and do everything like everything's going fine? They take their kids to school, they go to work, they come back, they sit back in the same house that they whoop they woman's ass in. And I hate to use this as an example, but the reality is the shit happens every day. The people do fucked up shit and act like they ain't did shit all the time.
But I have to, and I'm not. Please don't think I'm defending that action that you just stated.
Well,
but a lot of those men and women that do those things, that to them that is, and Mikhail can attest to this. To them, that's in their mind, that's normal behavior. Like they so fucking gone, they don't even realize I'm on some
and-
off the
Which-
wall
and-
shit.
and
Warren,
that's the
but you
point.
just made you
That's the
made our
point that
point.
Mikhail was making. He was saying that that's.
But I haven't
Hey, hold on,
heard
hold on.
of consistent
Hold on,
stories
hold
of him
on.
banging
Hold
on
on, hold
women.
on.
So
Oh no, that's the
Hold
behavior.
on.
Hold on, wait. That's the same behavior that Mikhail said he saw prior to. Now wait, here we go. While all this shit's going on, he has another altercation. We ain't even get into that with August Alsina. And remember, he when he went off and said nothing happened. He put it on his page talking about they're lying on him, all that bullshit. And then the tape drops. Remember, am I tripping? And then the tape drops. So it's the same behavior. It's this in the midst of what he was going through. He exhibited the exact same behavior.
I have to interject because
August Alsina
and this is not
hand.
defending Tory, but from
Bruh,
where I was raised
man.
and where I grew up at, if a nigga, if I extend my hand to a man and he shuns my shit, hey, my nigga, you gonna have to answer to that. Because to me,
But
how I was growing, that's a level of disrespect, dog.
Yeah, but now, understand, Warren, would you not own it?
But nah,
would you own it?
Hey, the nigga guilty. We all co-sign there. But you slap my hand down like I'm some bitch. I gotta see about you.
Yeah, but would you admit that you didn't do it, or would you say, yeah, I hit that nigga?
It depends on the
There it is.
If I'm gonna say you can get sued.
And to be honest,
I get that. You can get sued for that. So it depends.
There we are. Here we are. We've come full circle. We have admitted that he has a modality of doing fucked up shit and not owning it.
No, I give you that. I give you that. But I mean,
and that's the thing.
Bags out here.
That's really, bags or no bags. You get what I'm saying? Regardless, I'm not saying it's the same. I'm just saying when we're talking about
his motivation is not bags. That's the point.
Exactly. His motivation is to do fucked up shit and get away with it. And
that's obviously, obviously at this point,
and we have to really, really dive into the psychological mindset of a monster like that.
Right.
You get
those that will follow him.
And those that will follow, those that can be paid, those that can the trial showed me something about people that I knew, but I've never followed in that manner. I knew people would lie on the stand for money, but I never knew that they would go I just never followed it in that way to say, oh shit. In the morning, she said he shot the gun. In the afternoon, she said she forgot. In the morning, she says Tory offered to pay for my lawyer. In the afternoon, she don't know who paid for her lawyer. It was the most wild ride I've ever been on when it came to following these type of court cases.
Yeah.
And it does show you, that women are not only in danger from men, they're in danger from their counterparts as well. To be honest with you, I would think I get the dynamic between Meg, her friend, and Tory, and I've kind of peeped it early on before, I know Meg lied about it on the interview, whether or not her and Tory had been intimate and, and what the story was. I never focused on any of that because to me that was irrelevant. Mm-hmm. But the fact that a human can see some other human hurting to the degree that I feel like Megan was hurt and be able to be bought, it was just shocking to me. That's just me. I was like, damn.
Do you think the money was the main motivation?
No, I think it was multiple motives. But at the end of the day, to be honest with you, for me, it doesn't matter. I think she's equally as dangerous as Tory is. I think that the idea,
what we heard, she is.
You said what?
I said based on what they said in the case.
No,
she's just as equally as dangerous.
I'm saying she's equally as dangerous. She is. I'm being real with you. She is equally as dangerous as someone like Tory Lanez because there are players in society that prop up these men and these behaviors that happen.
I'm going to say something that is not going to be popular.
Go ahead.
At the time of the incident, all three of them were the same dangerous.
Speak on that. I like to hear that.
Birds of the feather. They do tend to flock together. Tory's behaviors were not new by the time him and Megan were hanging out. She knew what type of vibe he was, and she was down for it. As was her friend. And so when shit got real, Megan may have had a change of heart because the realness happened to her. But I don't know that she would have done anything different if the person that got shot was her friend. You know what I mean? Like I don't know enough about her. I just know that like-minded people tend to hang out, and they were hanging out heavy.
Are you victim blaming Megan right now?
No, I think he's putting accountability where it lies.
I'm fucking with you because that's that's what somebody's gonna say.
I think he's putting accountability where it lies. I think that's a point of reflection for everybody. To think about the people that you're around, because 2 out of 3, or what you're saying 3 out of 3, which I actually am inclined to agree with at the time.
Yeah.
Or people have some fucked up ways of moving,
right.
And I think that even then, I hate that the story of how she had sex, who she had sex with, how she went behind her friend's back, all of that is indicative of some issues, and they're all young. I mean, she's young and they're all young, so it's like that kind of comes into play. But at the same time, man,
I don't even put it on young, Sam, because people know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
Was the first thing. That's the first rule of life. That's the first thing babies learn. Yes, no.
Well, that's true, but it's like the reason I say they're young is because I felt like they both lost their parents early on in life, and that's the dynamic when you talk about birds of a feather flocking together. That was a connection that they had. That was a part of Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion's connection, is that they both lost. They speak on it. They both lost a parent early, and then
I know you can't let it ride.
You don't have to let it slide, bro. Speak, bro.
Yeah,
I can't let that slide from a person that has lived that life. I can't let that. And I'm talking about on both. And I don't even want to put that on Meg because she got affected. But it's just like one of those things to where, bro, right from wrong. And that goes into the thing of to whereas I see people to this day who are 30 plus blaming, their childhood or how their parents, whatever did them for their decision making now, when we're at a point to where, especially those two, like you have the resources, and we talked about the mental resilience and stuff like that, to not put yourselves in that type of situation for things to pop off like that. So I can't let. We can say other things, but that one right there, I can't let that pop off.
I mean, I was just speaking to the relationship, and I'm saying they're birds of a feather flocking together. They have some trauma. They've come together based on what they said, based on testimony that I've read. That's a part of the connection that they had, and so I'm kind of validating what Mikhail said in a way that they may have similar mindsets. And they may, there may have been, it seems as if the way that they approached each other was aggressive. When you listen when you read the transcripts, you can see that, she was coming at him just as much as he was coming at her. And when it comes to how they were talking to each other, when the interactions that they were having. And so I'm inclined to say what Mikhail was saying is relatively true. Let's speak on another piece of this, which is the burden that is needed to believe people. The idea, my biggest issue I've had with this case is one, when Warren spoke about the divide, right? He talked about how he just saw how big the divide was. My biggest issue was, it wasn't until, for me, this is my experience because I've been talking about this case on social media since it dropped. My biggest issue is the biggest Tory Lanez supporters didn't come and admit to the fact they felt like he did it until that tape dropped.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until that tape of him talking to Kelsey in the
In jail.
in jail, I guess a couple nights after it happened or the night it happened. I don't know when he got arrested, but
Oh,
it wasn't until that happened that I got these same niggas that was loud on their social media, these same dudes that was, you know, y'all owe Tory an apology, yada yada yada. Go into my DMs, hey, bruh, then he did that shit. You know, I was like, but we knew that. But we knew that. You get what I'm saying? And the fact that it took that much, these same dudes were blaming Rock Nation, saying Meg paying people off and doing all this. And I'm just being real. And it was like when you start to scroll through the comments, and I'm gonna be real, there's men and women that were very big, very big Tory Lanez supporters. And I struggle with the psychological nature of the people that are around me. I struggled with whether or not I can let my kids go over certain people's houses based on. No, I'm serious.
Who's not getting invited to dinner, Sam?
Bro, they can come. They can come to me. They can come to my house, but mine can't go to theirs, dog. I'm being real. Bro, I've struggled with certain aspects of how people don't believe victims when they come out and say something happened to them.
Can I interject?
Go
ahead. So can I
let
pose
Sam?
this?
I let Mikhail get his.
I want to pose something. I want to pose.
Hold on, wait, because you come from an intellectual standpoint, and I'm just want to come from a Negro standpoint real quick, from what I saw online, and then just speaking with people.
Negro or
what I saw.
nigga?
Yeah, what I saw a lot was, in both men and women, was motherfuckers weren't even looking at evidence after a certain while. It was hey man, a bitch lied on me one time in life, so shit, or lied on one of my people, and women also. Hey, I've been in situations where I wasn't believed, so I want, to fight for Meg because y'all should believe her. They couldn't tell you shit about, they ain't read shit, ain't no shit, but it was just like Meg said it, so that's what's happened. And there were a lot of men doing the same thing, to whereas, and for me, what I saw was it was a lot of people's personal experiences with the opposite gender kind of leading them astray from what was actually being put right in front of them. So when you say, hey man, motherfuckers ain't believing this person, they believe in this person, Sam, you alluded to it earlier. How many motherfuckers was actually reading what was actually going on? Wasn't many. So most of these people were just re-reporting what they seen from these fuck ass bloggers out here who are either pro Tory or pro Meg from the beginning. And it wasn't going to be until, like I said this on both sides before, the conclusions came. You gonna have people that, whether it was not guilty or guilty, still believe in what they had until there was actual visual or audio evidence of what occurred, because they couldn't remove their personal biases from what was being presented in front of them.
I could see that. I can agree with that. I was going from the perspective that black people are not a monolith, but one thing is for sure, that we have a few mindsets that exist in our community, like when you look at it from, I'm trying to think of a simplified way to say it. I put it this way: there's some in our community that think Jay-Z is the greatest of all time, and then there's others in our community that think Future is. Those are two different mindsets. I'm just saying, like, so when and the thing is, there's some things that go along with those belief systems that just kind of go in hand. Like, it's like the ones that are future based, they tend to like Kodak Black. They tend to like, and I'm gonna just go down. You know what I mean? Like, you can just go down the list of their favorite artists, and if you go down the list of Jay-Z and their favorite artists, you'll notice that their lifestyles are different. You know, so it's a mindset thing. It's, you know, how you living thing. And when I saw the Tory Lanez debate, it seemed like it fell down the same path. You know, kind of like what you're saying, Warren. So I think ultimately what we have to ask is, which lifestyle is the healthiest life to live? The one that lacks accountability, you know, just, you know, YOLO, to bring back some old shit. You only live once. So just give it a shot. Or people that actually, you know, plan their futures, their movements, and really, and they really are about the bag.
Right. I I I will add to what you said about the mindsets, brother, and say that I think my biggest takeaway from this whole ordeal is that we are on the wrong side of the law most of the time. The idea that like the people that we prop up and support are usually on the wrong side of the law, and I hate that shit. I hate the fact that we can sit out here and say free Young Thug when anybody raised in the Atlanta area know Young Thug and his crew have probably been responsible for over 50 homicides or 50 aggravated assaults in the metro area. That to
Warren Pettis
me,
did not say that. Just want
I'm
that to be
Sam
known.
Duperville said that. I'm not.
Warren Pettis did
I,
not say
I didn't
that.
know that
I'm,
either.
I'm not a street nigga, but I will grew up in street areas, and I'm gonna be real. Like we're not dumb. People gonna yell free Lucci, knowing that these people have been chaotic for the space that we've been in for the past. I've been out of high
Mm.
school how many years? For the past 14, 15 years. And we've been on the wrong side of that. And then somebody gets shot, has bullet fragments in their foot, and we coddle the potential perpetrator.
Perpetrator, yeah. I mean,
And
but Sam,
and
you, to be fair, Sam, you come from a law enforcement perspective, so you have an insight that Warren and I wouldn't have. Like, it's at the end of the day.
right.
I'd have to say
Hold
No,
on,
me
let me.
no,
too.
no, no, no. This perspective, Mikhail, is not a law enforcement perspective. This perspective is an Atlanta born and raised, went to school with some of these people, understand where these beefs started, and they still not dead. 15
Mm,
years and these beefs are still not dead.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? People I know personally, people I rubbed elbows with, went to school with. Like to me, eventually we gotta say, look, we're in our 30s, man.
like what the fuck are we doing?
What the fuck
Yeah,
are we doing? You get what I'm saying? And I don't give a fuck about, I don't care about any of that street shit. But we treated Meg as if she was a street person and we knew she wasn't. We treated her as a street victim. We we
mm.
we treated her as someone that was a part of the dope game because we but no, it's embedded
I
in
know
who
what you
we
said.
are.
Like, it's like,
And,
hey, that's what happens,
it's
right?
fucked up because it's like I asked myself, it's like, how come so many men, I was like, how come so many women are okay with Tory Lanez? I was like, oh, because they used to street culture. They looking at it like, oh, there's some street shit that happened. She's snitching. You get what I'm saying? And then on the other end, I'm like, how come, and this is the saddest part. This is the saddest realization I had. And y'all don't have to agree with me. Some niggas are gonna say I'm taking it too far. I don't give a fuck because I'm telling my truth from what I see, from who I'm dealing with and who I've encountered. I'm going to say when the saddest realization that I came to throughout this whole thing, when I asked myself, how do so many black men associate with Tory Lanez? And my answer was spirit shaking. My answer was these black men see themselves in Tory Lanez.
Mm-hmm.
These black men And don't interrupt me right now. I'm gonna say what I have to say. You can say what
I'm
you
gonna
want
let you get your
afterwards.
shit off. I'm gonna come back though.
These black men see themselves in Tory Lanez. These black men have put. There are a lot of these black men that have potentially victimized women, that have assaulted women, that have done things to women, some type of level of violence towards women, and gotten away with it. And they could not stand to see a black man actually get held accountable for some bullshit like that he did. And that's literally the rationalization that I came to. Because when I speak to them, the level of intensity that they had in their opinions and in their defense of Tory was well past the evidence presented, well past the situation that happened, and well past what was going on at that time. And it's just, to me, they they were Tory. They're like, shit, I did some shit and got away with it. I can't stand to watch this man get treated that way.
I mean, I don't know the niggas you talk to, and I'm not going to invalidate your experiences with some of those niggas, but that wasn't the vibe I got from the quote unquote pro Tory camp. The vibe goes back to what I alluded to earlier is I think it was what I alluded to in the first conversation, to whereas some of these men felt, I don't know, I wasn't there with their experiences, felt as if they were lied on. And now some cases I have seen niggas clearly get lied on in regards to that situation, and there is that animosity, that same animosity, to whereas the women should have, to whereas if they came out and spoke publicly about somebody and everybody shamed them for it when they were being truthful. So when you see a Meg, and going back to, they wouldn't know anything about the actual case, can't read you, can't tell you shit, and it'll be like, nah, I believe Meg. And that came from their own personal experiences. Now, I'm not saying it ain't no monsters out here who like, yo, man, Tory getting in trouble for shooting a woman. Like, damn, I didn't did this, I didn't did that. Man, I don't want that shit to come back on me. This is something different, but I remember niggas being scared when the Me Too shit was popping off, and they was doing some fuck shit back in the day and was worried about being exposed for their fuck Negro activities. So for that, I do see and understand where you coming from with that. But I guess the only thing I didn't like was like when you said black men. I would have preferred you said some black men, because I
Nah,
feel I
fuck
don't
it.
want
I'm
you to
gonna
look
say the
past it.
black men that came into my DMs. I came at all of them the same energy I'm putting out here.
Yeah, he did say
Is
the ones
the
that he was talking about.
Oh, okay.
the
My
one
bad.
I
I
said, the
apologize.
ones
I
that I
didn't
was
hear. I didn't hear
talking
that
to.
part. I thought you was
Yeah.
like, damn,
And
bro, you casting all of us.
nah. I said the ones that I talked to, I started to
Yeah.
see that they saw themselves. They saw themselves in that, and
Okay,
and
yeah,
then that
nah, that's real.
and then when I'm gonna speak on the part that you're talking about with men being lied on. I'm gonna say this: men do get lied on. It happens, right? But you know what happens more than men being lied on? Crimes, and I'm not talking about just sexual crimes. I'm talking about all crimes being underreported and under litigated. A lot of assaults go underreported and
Oh,
unlitigated.
for sure.
And the reality is, this is one, in my opinion, that when you have evidence of a bullet in somebody's foot, you have evidence of a gun being for someone, the gun was hot, they found bullet casings, there's
Ring
clear,
video.
it's like, come on, man. Like, we cannot let our sisters feel like we don't care about them to that degree. You get what I'm saying? And that's my thing. If you want to defend men, man, defend men that have a real chance at not being guilty.
No, for sure.
This man never had that. And unfortunately, I felt as if people dug in, which we do, because people dig in, you know what I'm saying? People dug in without really just saying, look, man, and that's what I said in the first episode. If my sister or your sister Warren or your sister Mikhail had been shot, and a man within weeks went and put a mixtape out, bro, and there's motherfuckers out here that was actually listening to that shit, that's where you can say, look, man, women can say, you can say what you want. People say it's an agenda, whatever the case may be. But the reality is we're not really protecting a black woman in that instance.
Yeah, I think the more salient or more spotlighted position would be give me examples of us coming to our sister's defense. Like, can you give me a myriad of examples? No, hold on. Let me finish my point. Can you give me just example after example after example of us protecting and defending black women? Because on their side of it, they're able to present us with so many, just this a huge presentation of where we're not doing it. Even down to Black Lives Matter, they were like, well, y'all want to be here for Mike Brown, but where are you on this? What happened with this? Like, why is it always the guys' names first? And yet we have sisters in there. Like, they have just so many examples of where we are not stepping up and putting our lives at risk like they do for us when they're on the side of the victim. And that's the challenge that I have. Is like, before y'all come for the comment, make sure you build up the evidence. I don't want any emotional response. I want data. And if you got the data, then we can have a real conversation with sisters. Because right now they come in with data. They ain't just having any emotional reaction.
And to be real,
wait, because I have to interject right there. So
yeah,
you said, and this is where I have an issue, because me and my wife debate this a lot. They say black men don't protect. Sam, Mikhail, do you want all black men, majority or percentage? Because I can honestly say Sam, Mikhail have been very proactive in wanting to protect Megan in this situation. There have been a lot of men that have been very active and pro Megan. But now, don't get me wrong, there have been a lot of niggas out here who have been anti Megan in this situation. So
and they
me, I do feel a lot of times in regards to these types of situations, whether not at this grand scale, the men that get highlighted are the terrible men. Men such as yourself, Sam, don't get highlighted. Men such as yourself, Mikhail, don't get highlighted. And that is where I have an issue on both sides of the spectrum, to whereas we focus, and this is one thing with our people, I don't know about what whites do. We tend to focus on niggas not doing shit versus the people that are. And me and Mikhail, we have had these types of debates offline.
That's Sam's point, though.
I'm gonna say this, man. I think it was the day after Christmas. I think that was around the time when
I just know we at
it
Rob
was a couple of days after
Rob,
Christmas, right? So it was Rob engagement. So that was the day before Christmas. That came out, and I took a break on Christmas. So I ain't post nothing about it. It was the day after Christmas. I kind of went in because I had time at this point. And I had probably 12 women that personally messaged me. And they said, you are the only, she's like, I have a lot of friends on social media, male friends on social media. You're the only one that consistently spoke out about this woman and the pain that she had been through. And literally just sent me a message to say, look, you're the only man that was loud, that was not afraid to say, look, take the heat. Cause I took the heat, bro. Like, I'm talking about niggas in my messages like, yo, you don't know that. Yo, you need to, they sending me, oh, it was glass in her foot. And I was like, motherfucker, a doctor said there's still fragments in her foot. You telling me it's glass. Anyway, but regardless,
a lot of niggas need to apologize for that too, by the way.
No, but they're not going to apologize loud.
They're not.
They're going to apologize in my messages. They're going to say, damn, this nigga he took us all on a ride, knowing good and well what he did, but they're not going to do it in the same manner that
right.
They did it in the negative scope, Warren. And we have to see that. We have to see that when something happens to us, Tamika Mallory hits the streets. We have to see that. You get what I'm saying? We have to see that when something happens to black women, or I'm just gonna be honest, we may type about it, but we don't move. We don't get up out of our house and go where we need to go to make the points that we need to make. And that's it. Remember when we talk about protecting black women, when we had that conversation, and I was just like, we do not do what we're supposed to do as men from a standpoint of a loud example of us protecting our women. We do not have that. And if you have it, I dare you to show it to me.
Right. Because I got more evidence of
because I got so much evidence
of us. How about this? When Pinky Cole gave that graduating class all LLCs, there's a podcast that's going to remain nameless that said their comment about that. What the fuck is that going to do? These are black men talking. Why would you even come for her on your platform? That's an attack. Let alone we talking about protecting black women. Why are we attacking black women? Because they're attacking us. No, they are saying, can y'all protect us? Here's the evidence of y'all not protecting us. But like, when we're going to start having
and
that
I'm not
accountability?
saying that there aren't black men that don't protect black, because there's a lot of them.
I mean, I'm one. I'm one, and I can say that we are not.
And that's where I get frustrated at, is because it's like there are men out here who risk their lives every day for the protection of black women that don't get fucking highlighted. And
are they the majority? Are they the majority
doing shit as opposed to supporting brothers who have? And that's unfair.
Are they is it the majority out here protecting black women?
How would we know if it's the majority or the minority? Because the minority is so.
I don't know that it's a minority.
A vocal minority versus others. Because we talk about this all this. So, Sam, let me ask you a question. Michaela, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you two questions. If you're going out here and you're protecting black women all your life, do you beat on your chest about you doing it?
I don't know that I beat on my chest about it, but I talk about it.
Yes.
I mean, I talk about it on this platform.
No. And I feel we are. There's a difference to whereas a nigga who ain't doing shit gonna talk the loudest, as they say, the brokest is usually the loudest. The men who are actually doing these things don't want a fucking award for it. But at the same time, it's like, yo, we only hear about the neck. Do black men need to do better when it comes to protecting black women? 100%. Yes, I agree with that. But my issue with some of the statements that I'm even hearing on this podcast is just like, damn, y'all making it seem like it ain't niggas out here risking their lives every day.
Hold on. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm just letting you know how it seems.
That's how
I perceive it.
That's how you take that. I think what I'm saying is this. We do not, you can speak on beating your chest, whatever the case may be, but we do not have a real organized effort I would say in the past maybe 3 decades of any type of structural way that black men are protecting. I would take it further, even black women and black children. And that is the biggest issue I think that we have in our community. It's and I'm guilty. I'm not putting it out there like I want to be clear, by the way, because I think this is the biggest part about this. I want to be clear that even with what I've done, I'm still very guilty of not protecting black women and children. I'm still, because I believe that it goes past your home. It goes past my wife and my kids. And I believe there's still a gap within me that I feel like I have to fill eventually in the community, and making sure that our children and our women feel that we have their backs in this thing called life. And I'm just being real. And this is somebody you would talk to, most women would say, Sam does the most I've seen. You get what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is, even that, Warren, is not enough because of what I've seen from what women have done for us when we have issues in society. That's what I mean. And if we're not talking about that bar, We're not talking about the Tamika Mallory's and the people who started organizations, who stumped the grounds for us, who go sit in these courthouses and are putting bail money to get people out of
Yeah,
jail and all of that.
Jail.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, if we're not at that level, bro, then we don't have an example. And I'm not talking about the Jay-Z's behind the scenes. I'm talking about people that will go do what needs to be done.
So you don't think the Jay-Z's, the Tyler Perry's, they don't do what needs to be done? The ones funding certain movements, like this is what I mean by discrediting some of the things we do, and that's where it's just because. And this is a question I asked to everybody, bro, not just men, not just women. Well, both. What does protection look like to you? I
made a very clear example. I said, you stumping for us. You're actually in the places that need to be. Like, I'm talking about physically putting your life and your body on the line for Black men, the same way Black women have done for Black men. I mean, Black women, the same way that I've seen Black women do for Black men over the past 10 years. It's a gap, bro. I am not
I see what you're on.
What I'm saying is, I am not okay, Warren. Since you're so strong and powerful about what you feel, give me an example. I gave you Tamika Mallory. Give me somebody else.
As far as what? In the
give me
someone
give me someone that has.
Because the thing is, where the issue lies here is
I'm talking
understanding
about
what
boots on the
protection
ground.
looks like.
I'm talking about
you can have somebody that you can have somebody that.
Bro, no. Hold on. You asked for context. I'm going to give you context. I'm saying boots on the ground. Give me somebody.
Boots on the ground, meaning like out here protesting and stuff like that?
I mean, somebody that could walk down the street and get shot. A normal person that could walk down the street and potentially get shot based on what she has done to protect what he has done to protect Black women.
Why would I know a normal person that I don't know already?
Right. I just said
he meant somebody, Tamika Mallory. He's saying give me somebody like Tamika Mallory.
She's not a celebrity.
I got one.
Go ahead, give me one.
Hawk Newsom.
I don't know who that is, but
he's the Black Lives Matter chief in New York.
That's a New York guy. Good.
Hold on, I'm just saying, like that's boots on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the
ground. And I mean, like, in the face of politicians. I mean, straight up ran this white nationalist politician out of I think it was Queens that day. Like he on their ass. But to be honest with you, I don't know too many others like Hawk. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody else that's doing it like him. That's one.
Now, my question to you is, what is most effective? Because I feel like we do a lot of marching and stomping and shit and don't fucking change. But I do know what changes things: money. And there are a lot of cats out here who put up a lot of money that are Black men for the protection of not only just Black men, but Black women too. And that shit gets discredited because they ain't walking the fucking streets. Because you know what? We've seen enough people walking the goddamn streets and shit continues to change.
But
if you put dollars and you make people accountable because you're in positions of power to put people to be held accountable, that's how change happens. There are many ways to skin a cat, but we're not going to keep discrediting.
I'm going to say something.
These men who's giving their money, their time, their value for our fight.
Warren, men are writing checks. Men are writing checks to women-led organizations. That's my issue. Yes, they're writing checks. Why are we not out there? Why? When the not fucking around coalition came out, the NFAC,
man,
who wrote a check to them? Who wrote a check to them versus who wrote a check to Black Lives Matter? People write checks to politically correct organizations. You're saying marching doesn't work? Well, we don't fund.
I didn't say it doesn't work. It is not as effective.
But you alluded that it's not effective.
As effective as what money does. Money changes shit.
Well, money tends to be tied to those organizations because they're nonviolent. They tend to, be politically aligned with, the First Amendment. So it's American to do this stuff. While the Not Fucking Around Coalition was immediately labeled as a terrorist organization. When
And
all
that's
they
anytime
did,
blacks get together and try to
that's
fight the system.
anytime black
Black
men
men.
get together, it turns into a terrorist organization. Black Panther Party.
Shout out to them boys.
You understand what I'm saying? Immediately. So when we talk about boots on the ground, that's what we're talking about. I'm talking about who's showing up and showing the oppressors and those that are willing to do us harm, whether it be black men themselves, because Not Fucking Around Coalition was about, hey, don't come in these neighborhoods with that shit. We running all that crime shit, got to roll. Like the whole attitude was get that shit out of our communities, or else.
Now this is now a strategical argument because you bring up the Panthers, you
Well,
bring up those types of
I'm
organizations.
bringing up.
What
Hold
happened?
on.
Okay, wait. What happened to those organizations? Once the black
What
man, what
happened to
happened to those organizations?
What
So
happened to those
what
organizations
happened to
is
them?
that they were attacked by the oppressing party, and they
So
were not,
if you
fully
still
and
agree with certain things, would you not change your strategies
hold
with
on.
certain things?
No, let me say this, and they were not fully embraced by the communities. We got black people. We got black people. Oh, we don't need it on AR-15s. Oh, we don't need this. Why y'all out there doing it? We're not. It's not embraced by the black community. Black Panthers were not embraced by the black community,
and they were not getting a big check from any of those big guys that you're talking about
right?
up there.
To pay for the lawyers that we need.
I'm just being real with you, Warren. I get what you're saying.
Wait. So you're telling me people in the community wasn't giving money to the Black Panther parties. No black people were giving money to the Black Panther party.
Hold on, that's not where what I'm speaking.
I was about to hit you with something.
Go ahead, Mikhail.
The reality is that the Black Panther Party was not getting the funding that they needed. And they were not getting the funding that they needed.
And the same
I never said they got all the funding. What I'm saying to you,
no. I'm gonna give you a clear example based on what you just said. The NFAC came out. That's a recent organization,
right?
And they received that was an issue that they had with funding. And if I'm not trying to discount any of the big wigs that give money, because they give money to what they give money to, and they have the right to spend it how they please.
Right.
What I'm saying is, if it was me who had the money, that's where it would have went. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to protecting black families, black people, black women, NFAC was all about that. They weren't receiving any big checks from anybody. The leader there is going broke trying to fight a Fed charge. That's
BS charge.
A BS Fed charge, by the way. And I think that's where we kind of have to say, okay, there's still a gap, bro. And I'm not saying
saying there's not a gap. I just feel there's a high disrespect on a lot of people who are doing a lot of great things.
You can focus on the disrespect all you want, but we're not where we need to be. And
if you continue to disrespect, why do you think niggas is gonna help you? That's the shit.
Because it's not about us.
It's not about us, bro. Like you gotta understand, like just because we not there yet, don't mean we can't just have these
think about this and strategize and getting people to.
Can I say, Warren? Nah,
we all want the same things. We just thinking about it differently right now.
Let me say this. No. Yeah, but let me just say this: that if I'm a check writer, right, and I'm saying I'm black people, I love my community, I love my kids, I want them to have the better, and I know that this check is going to make that better. I don't give a shit what people are saying about me. I don't, because of the respect that I got. Nor will I not do it because of the disrespect that you get. That has nothing to do with what's in my character. So I'm gonna say what I want to say, how I want to say it. If somebody decides based on what I say that they don't want to write a check to the cause, then they weren't part of the cause to begin with. They just did it for the show. They just did it for the limelight, and fuck them. But at the end of the day, there is huge gaps. There are huge gaps, and I try to go from a strength perspective. I don't want to focus on the deficits. I want to focus on the strength. The fact of the matter is, the strongest piece on the board for our community are the queens, is the black women. She's able to move and shake in a way that I feel we need to be a part of that. We need the
Yep.
same organizational skills. We need the same energy, and we do not
The
have the
same
same
support
energy. More
system.
often than not,
It's,
yeah, more often than not, the queen is protecting the king, and I feel like that could be, we need an equalizer in that. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. At the end of the
And
day,
and
our job as men is to protect black children. And in essence, we end up protecting black women by protecting black children. We're not
For
even
sure.
protecting our children because they're out here killing each other. We're letting them get access to weapons. We're not teaching them any respect for the weapon.
and
We're
any
allowing
respect
them to
for the
join
women.
gangs. Right. And I'm saying like it's we set the tone and we're not setting it.
And it's clear. I think it's clear. I think at this point, in my opinion, especially in some place like Atlanta, where you see these problems play out clear as day. You know what I'm saying? There
Yeah.
are there are other aspects to it, but when you I guess to bring it all the way around, when you see the Tory Lanez and the Meg Stallion situation play out, all of those aspects are embedded in situations like that. The idea that there's no accountability for you as a man.
Mhm.
You can't. And to be honest with you, I feel as if he held himself accountable from the jump, he probably wouldn't even done it much time, in my opinion. That's
Oh
just
no,
my
I
opinion.
agree.
I'm
Based
just
on what
being
he
real.
knows, he should have said, "I fucked up. I was drunk, man.
And
I deserve what I get for this."
that's just my take. He probably wouldn't have had a cooperating witness. It would have been a different kind of situation. But as men, we have to take back control of our community. So these issues don't. The fact that a man can shoot a woman and black men and black women both can jump on this woman like she shot herself is wild. And we
I
have
agree
to
with that.
start to say, look, we have to change the mindset, and it starts with us. It starts with men. And that's what women, when I told you 15 women hit me up, that's what they were telling me. It starts with more men that want to speak up when they see this shit is fucked up and say, oh, the same level of loud that they call them ashy men, that these ashy men that these women call are out here saying what they say about this situation. We need to be just as loud, and that's just my take. We can have a conversation about how the black family and the black community move forward, but from a standpoint of this case, if you encapsulate what happened here, it was a tremendous disappointment for me to see how black society reacted to this tragedy. That's just me.
I know
Any
if Derek
final
want to
words
follow
before
up.
we end?
Oh, I have a final word. And this is more so in regards to Meg's mental health. The thing that disgusted me the most with the trial was, well, let me say this first. Um, I want to apologize for thinking about it from just a man believing woman versus man. I never really sat back and thought about the mental health of everybody involved in the case. But being that I only focus on Meg because she is the true victim in this case. She's the one that left bloody from the actions of people being drunk. She's the one that was actually physically harmed. But what bothered me from the case more than anything is the way people reacted to her when she took the stand and just lacked compassion for her. And it changed my thinking when she got up there and talked about, her relationship with Party, her past being exposed, her being victimized. And I had alluded to it on our first debate about this is I know there are women who don't, speak up because they're fearful of the way so many people attack Megan.
Mhm.
And I sympathize for her because I was just thinking like, yo, this person got shot and is out here on trial for her character. Like that in itself is just fucked up. And I remember tweeting like, yo, I really do feel sorry for Megan. Like, I don't give a fuck what y'all believe if Tory didn't or didn't do it. Like, I feel sorry for this woman on the stand, and niggas came at me. Why you feeling sorry for her? Like, she out here lying. She shouldn't have lied about fucking Tory and all this other stuff. And I'm like, bro, how could you not be empathetic for a woman that is up here? Her life is being damaged. Like, she has to, let's say she didn't tell Party that she fucked her. Let's say she didn't. But now she has to have this conversation with this man, and he finds out this way. When it's at the end of the day, it's none of our business. Like, none of our business at all. Then it's she's a liar, she's this, she's that. Like, yo, bro, she's on the stand because she got harmed and she got affected. So that was the one where it really clicked to me to whereas fuck who you do and don't believe in this situation. But the mentality, the lack of empathy, the lack of understanding. Yes, I have said, on the earlier thing that, yeah, some women lie on men, but I also stated I think it's 75-25. It may be higher than that. I could be wrong in just that number alone, but the fact that so many people lacked empathy for a black woman on the stand for what she was going through. Like, it hurt. It really hurt me as I'm like going through the tweets, going through Facebook, and I'm thinking, like, yo, how many other women feel this way? Because I mean, if something bad happens, like I think about my nieces, I think about my wife, something bad happens to them, and they seen the way Meg just got treated when she was the victim. It's like, nah, I just gotta eat this shit because shit, her, her taking a shot and just eating it would have been better than what the fuck she had to go through. So for me and my perspective, yes, I'm always going to be like, yo, I want to hear, everything. I just don't want to go out. Somebody said this, I believe them. But at the same time, I do want there to be empathy and understanding, whether what side of the spectrum you're on, because yo, these are real people. Yeah, she's a superstar. Yeah, he's a superstar. But this is a real woman. Like, she goes
Mhm.
to bed at night just like the rest of us. She has feelings, she has emotions, she has family. That shit hurt to see. Even the ones that hated fucking Kelsey for her getting up there lying and shit like that, seeing the way she was attacked. Some of it deservingly so, and I get it. But it's like, yo, y'all like, what is wrong with y'all? Like,
They
what the
like they
fuck is
attack.
wrong with y'all? And it's not just, I mean, this is like a culture thing. A, a culture thing to where it's like, I feel in our community, we we quick to judge and lacking empathy and understanding. Cause I mean, men and women can point the fingers at each other all day, but there's one thing that I do know both sides have to start getting better is listening. Like, we play this fucking oppression Olympics game, and that's one of my things to whereas I'm trying to remove myself away from 100% and just fucking listening and understanding. And until we do that, man, like, as far as the black community goes, like, that's why I was so amped up earlier about, like, yo, it's a lot of black men out here doing well, but it's like, them niggas need to be highlighted too. Like, but we play this, well, how many black women doing this, how many black men doing that, versus like, yo, no, we all need to be doing this stuff. We can acknowledge, black women doing more, but there are brothers who trying to creep us up, put the numbers equal to whereas, well, actually, we should be leading the forefront from it. But I'm sorry, getting on the
I mean,
soliloquy. It's just more
no,
so about the empathy and understanding. And I pray for her, because that right there was worse than getting shot. Like, the long-term effects of what she had to deal with was worse than getting shot. And she kind of said it on the stand, but it's just like, people, well, I wish I would rather die. I wish I would have died that day. For somebody to say that, and
Bro,
then niggas still attack her after saying that, I was like, yo, bro, we got a long way to go.
you know the saddest part, and Mikhail, I'm gonna let you finish, bro. But I have to
mm,
say this, man, because I'm not gonna lie, this shit brought tears to my eyes a little bit. After the trial, somebody posted the video of Meg on the quarantine radio where she was like, she was shaking her ass It's like, yo, y'all remember this? And I was just like, bruh, that shit gotta be killing her. That even after all of this, that's all she's amounted to for certain people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I love the fact that you humanize her because that's it. It was a human, Mikkel.
No, I think that to me that's just a testimony to how we really have objectified women to the point that we lack the ability to connect with their journey in this life. Maybe, for those of us that have not disconnected, we are the ones that are protecting her, but we just don't have the organizational skills to find a way to promote it in a way that it can be infectious, because his quarantine episodes became viral, and therefore there is an audience for objectification. Um, we need something that's like-minded, but again, we don't have it. Apparently, we don't have organizational skills, y'all, because we individually do it, but we haven't found a way to collectively do it. And then the same voice make sure the women felt like they are protected. If you ask my daughter if she felt like I was protective of her, she would absolutely say yes. Yeah, you ask my wife. No, no matter if I just had an argument with her, don't even try it. You
Yeah.
understand?
Sure.
And they know I protect them. So how do we turn that into a global statement? I would argue I have to stop participating in stuff that really objectifies women. If women find that there's no market to be objectified, maybe they'll stop doing it too. But it's gonna be hard to do with OnlyFans coming out and everybody just getting in
IG
their
Reels.
bag, just getting in their bag.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of hard to do, but at the same time, it needs to be done. Like there should be no way an oppressor should be able to get in here and touch our women, and bow down on that hill.
And feel as if that they can get away with it.
Right, right.
And the reality is, I mean, it was a tough but eye-opening thing for me as I'm raising daughters. So I feel as if this is a lesson I needed to learn because I told y'all they ain't gonna be able to go over certain places
Hmm.
because of this. And it just is what it is. I mean, people can feel how they feel, but the way I feel is if you can't see my daughters as a whole human, then I can't have them around you in the way
Right,
that you would you can't have the access to them is like you think you should. And that's just me. That's the way I'm going to
right.
protect mine. And I just feel as if, there's more conversations that need to be had around this, but overall, I appreciate the fact that we can agree to disagree on some parts and kind of also, give perspective where perspective is due. Um, I do feel as if justice was served, and we hopefully all parties involved can move on, including Rock Nation, because they said they were going to crumble. So hopefully they
As a
don't.
result,
Hopefully they don't crumble.
Can one last tidbit.
Yes, sir.
I want that man to serve his jail time, but I also want that man to learn his lesson and to be able to teach where he fucked up at, where he needs to get better at. Because as we see, some of his followers are so fucking on the other side to where it's like,
I
yo,
about to say that's an ideal request, and I just don't,
Man,
I don't see
I
it
don't
right
hey,
know if
now.
that
look,
happened, but
I
hope, hopefully
we
they can
can
get
we
out of
can
their
punish him
Illuminati bag.
forever, and he deserves what he gets, but at the same time, if it creates a platform or something to whereas like some of these niggas, we take some of these, I know we ain't never gonna get rid of all the monsters out here, but shit, if him learning a different way take some of the monsters off the street, like shit, just something, because we got to be better. We can't stay in the same place.
Nah, that's true, man. For with that being said, I'm think we're gonna end, man. For more conversations like these, please follow us, You Good Bruh Podcast, IG, Facebook, YG Bruh Podcast on Twitter and on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. I am Sam Dupe, and I am good.
Hey, I'm Tel McKell. I am good.
I'm
Black
Warren P, and
Brilliance.
I'm good.
And just like that, we out.
True.